We've seen it at 60 all the way up to 80%. And by many different standards, the Iranians can absolutely, oh shit, my bad. Let me give you co-host here. I was wondering why it wasn't coming up. Okay, so by many different standards, right? And here is a picture of the Middle East here, guys, right? So we can go ahead and let me go through it one more time. So we have Iran, right, in the center, okay? Then you see to their west is Iraq. Now, it is important to understand that for a very long time, the Iranians and the Iraqis fought, which my brother's going to go into a little bit of that later on when he gives you guys his monologue. But as of late, since the fall of Saddam Hussein, Iraq has become an ally for the Iranians. There are Iranian-backed proxy groups in Iraq, okay? Yep. Then you have Syria, right, to the west of Iraq. Okay, this was run by Bashar al-Assad for a very long time, okay, right there in Damascus. Then you have Lebanon with Beirut, Hezbollah stronghold. And I would argue that Hezbollah has been the strongest proxy group in this acts of resistance against the Israelis. They've fought the Israelis on multiple occasions in the 80s, in 2006, multiple skirmishes in the 2000s, and they've won, actually. They've actually beaten the Israelis on the floor, on the ground, many times. And then you have, obviously, the Gaza Strip down below, where we're all very familiar with where Gaza is now, obviously, after what Israel did with the genocide. And then you got the Houthis all the way down in Yemen. Now, the Houthis, right, and they control basically the western side, especially hugging the seaboard area of Yemen. Now, the Houthis are kind of interesting because with them, they're not just a resistance group, they're also, okay, and they basically have been choking financially and have bankrupted one of their ports completely, okay, by boarding ships. And they're like, as my brother calls them, what do you call them, Riyadh? You call them cockroaches?
Yeah, they're cockroaches because they just don't die.
Yeah.
And I'll go into that later, how much adversity they faced, yet they still have a very, very strong existence and presence in Yemen today.
Yes. So extremely difficult to deal with, extremely mobile, extremely, they're a competent fighting force. The United States had to have a ceasefire with these. So, they're
very elusive.
So it's very difficult to hit them, right? They're probably, I would say Hezbollah is their strongest, then the Houthis are just like the most difficult to deal with. And these guys have been sending missiles into creating this problem for a very long time. So one of Iran's, and it's important that you guys understand this because this is what's going to lead into what we talk about next. So they have 4 different combat strategies of combating in the West. So number 1 is the proxy groups, acts of resistance, right? Which they fund and back, okay? Because this creates insulation for them, right? And protection from next, their ballistic missile program, which honestly is the centerpiece of these strategies. It's not the nuclear program anymore, it's the ballistic missile program, okay? It is a extremely dangerous and powerful ballistic missile program. Everyone underestimated them, and they proved the world, they really shocked the world in the 12-day war. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail about why the ballistic missile program has become basically the forefront of negotiations now, okay? The Israelis and the United States really undersold how badly the Israelis were getting up during the 12-day war, but now this has become the centerpiece of negotiations and what they want to talk about the most because it caused the Israelis quite a bit of damage. And quite frankly, the Israeli government was begging for a ceasefire because in a war of attrition, those ballistic missiles were going to level Tel Aviv, and the Iranians were extremely accurate and extremely lethal, and they were able to get around the Israelis' air defense, okay? So their ballistic missile program. So their nuclear program, their ballistic missile program, and they also have a very competent and strong drone program as well.
If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to create clips like these fast, try Opus Clips. It's smart, simple, and built for creators.